At the centre of Scotland's largest city lies its beating heart. Glasgow Central is the transport hub that connects communities near and far. But for months, lockdown has left the country and the station at a standstill. Now Central staff must take on the challenges of getting the whole nation moving.
This will be interesting.
Any problems we come across, we've got to solve ourselves.
This is what makes this place electric. Brilliant to work in.
They need to open up, welcome back the crowds,
Number 13, guys.
Have your tickets ready, guys?
and cope with everything that a packed station,
Very, very, very busy.
demanding passengers,
Guys, can you just put your mask on? Put your mask on for me, thank you.
and new challenges can throw at them.
We've found a problem with the high voltage cable.
That's going to have to be replaced.
This roller coaster just doesn't stop, does it?
Their mission? To keep the recovery on the rails
I'm staying in Central, so I'm so happy.
A job well done.
and make sure everyone reaches their destination safely. As Scotland opens back up, Central Station is thriving once again.
Footfall is increasing. I think it makes the spirit of the place come back. You know, what is Glasgow Central and the railway itself.
But growing numbers mean growing demands and, on some days, inevitable disruption, which can be tricky for the whole team.
Suddenly we have to deal with the disruption and it's a totally different ballgame.
Keeping the station running smoothly will take determination.
Any night of the week, any time of the day, you don't know what's going to happen, so resilience is key.
And a sprinkling of optimism.
If you're not back in 2 hours, we're away to Las Vegas, right?
Thankfully, the team is more than ready to take on the challenge. Glasgow is enjoying a few glorious days of blistering sunshine. Temperatures have risen to over 24 degrees, and swathes of passengers have arrived into Central Station eager to finally visit family and friends down south. But a faulty freight train has delayed London-bound services, and it's causing havoc on the concourse. So it's down to the team on the ground to keep the affected passengers happy.
We've now got the 12:40 service has been cancelled, and we've got 2 lots of customers going on the 13:35 at the minute.
If we have a train failure or an infrastructure breakdown just out with the station or in any of the lines, it can have a real massive impact. Depending on what line it's hitting, you could shut down the station and the traffic in and out. It can snowball really quickly if you don't react and start putting plans in place.
The freight train has broken down at a key junction, stopping all services on the West Coast Mainline. And with more and more passengers arriving on the concourse, it's a problem the team need to sort out fast.
When that train breaks down, it's one engine that's pulling all the freight behind it, and there's nothing there to help it out. So we need to try and get another engine there, moving out of the way. That generally can take anything between 2 to 6 hours, depending on where it is, what's happening, and sometimes it's been even longer.
Over 2,000 customers use the hourly Glasgow to London trains every day. It can be a lifeline for some passengers and a vital central service.
I think it's been really important, especially for passengers that have probably got family, either in England or Scotland, and they've not seen them for a year and a half. They are relying on us to make that connection again.
Well, I mean, I was supposed to leave 6 minutes ago. I'm supposed to be going to my work tonight.
Disruption in the station can be tough, so it's a big day for former Network Rail welder Mick, who is on his 2nd week of training for his new passenger-facing role.
It's a matter of picking up as you go along. Simple as that. In the frying pan, isn't it? Right in there.
Customer service assistant Heather is on hand to guide him.
So this is the London News Department?
Yeah, right round. Just round last night.
Got the mask.
We know who you are.
But with mounting delays and a concourse full of frustrated passengers, it's a tall order for the trainee.
Nice easy day, Michael. Everything's going to be fine, Michael. Aye.
After 19 years as a welder, being a customer service assistant brings a whole new set of challenges for Mick.
What it was, at my work, there was a bit of problems with the physical side of using the tools. And so HR decided, well, we'll put you on something a wee bit less, manual, call it what you want. So I said, I'll try that. So I think they must have, he talks a lot and he's okay with the customers, had a bit laugh, and so something in here, see what happens. You've got to listen and try and put yourself into their shoes. Why are they angry, You'd be the same if it's, I don't know, a late train or something's not, but you'd be like, I've paid my money for this, I want a decent service, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to be a wee bit crabby, so you've just got to try and explain the situation. But so far, so good.
While the team is busy working below the glass canopy, some essential maintenance is happening above.
Welcome to the Central Station. You don't ever get tired of the view. Beautiful.
The vast roof of Glasgow Central, which is 3 times the size of Hampden Park, has its gutters cleaned weekly by just 2 men, Chaz and Gav.
It's like the output in every gutter, and we have to make sure the outputs are clean so the water can just flow through it.
If the gutters overflow, the water can end up on the platforms, meaning disruption for passengers.
So like every Wednesday, we'll walk around, check all the gutters, see if it's clear. And the ones that are not clear, that's the ones that we do. It is a big job for 2 people.
This time of year is great as well, because usually you're getting dive bombed by all the seagulls that are nesting just now.
So be careful.
Chaz and Gav have 2 days to clear through 6.5 acres worth of gutters. They are out come rain or shine and find all sorts up here.
A dead seagull. Sometimes you find money, but we just split it between us.
It's a never-ending, messy task, but it's essential to keep the station running. Gutters clear for this week, the guys are off to Edinburgh Waverley to start the process all over again. Back down below the canopy, and it's not looking good for the London-bound passengers.
So that's the 12:02, 13:03 and 14:02 all cancelled now, so hope it sorts itself out pretty soon. There'll be a lot of a backlash.
Shift station supervisor Alison has been drafted in to manage the disruption.
So what's happening then?
I heard there was a freight train, a broken down freight train earlier on.
It's just one of those unfortunate things that happens. Sometimes things break down, there's not much you can do to control it. So yeah, but I'll enjoy disruption. No, I shouldn't, but I do. So where did the 135 train come from?
Depot.
Right, OK. Is there anything else coming to the depot to said it?
No.
So we're going to be waiting on that next arrival, basically?
A train from the local depot has taken some passengers south. But for the customers who didn't get onto the service, and the new passengers arriving every minute, it's unclear how long they will have to wait. But thankfully, nothing will faze Alison.
It's understandable when people get frustrated. I think we've all been there. The sunshine doesn't help.
Where's the next train?
When the line is clear.
In the summertime, when the weather is high, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women, you got women.
Probably people that have not been away for ages and they're just going away today and then suddenly the trains are cancelled.
Because they're going to be changed.
Yeah, I'm afraid there's disruption on. The track is blocked, so no trains are moving. They're working on it. We can't tell how long it'll take until it's done. We are working on it, and as soon as we know, we'll let you know.
sun goes down, you can make it good and live by.
Guys, can we clear this area, please?
Alison finally gets an update from the team.
Well, they've started single line working, so maybe that is accurate. I used the app during the disruption that we had, and it's great because it gives you the control centre messages, so we can straight away just go in there and we've all got the exact same information. So realistically, we could tell people, realistically, we think 4 o'clock.
And Alison is able to give the customers some much needed information.
OK, guys, realistically, it's going to be 15:40, so there's no point waiting here just now, OK? You've come into it midway and you're trying to work out what's going on, and the only information you've got is we're working on it, and you've got lots of passengers and it's sunny and it's warm. So yeah, it's just keeping your cool, giving them the information and understanding that they're annoyed and they've got every reason to be, but we get there.
With tensions eased for now, the team wait and hope that the freight train is moved soon.
There you go, thank you.
At the platform ticket barriers, customer service assistant Derek is helping passengers embark on some different journeys.
You needn't go on this train? Right, come on, I'll get you on.
We're starting to open up again and the numbers are rising, so it's getting really, really busy.
There you go, platform 15. Hi, Attic.
Derek's worked at Central for 3 years, but the last year has been unlike any other, both for staff and passengers.
The best thing about that in here, everybody works as a railway family, and we all stuck together. So we backed each other up, gave each other support, and that was the most amazing thing in here. So I was really proud to be part of that team last year and working here. Just where it says ticket, that's you.
Derek is trained in a type of mental health intervention known as assist. While he's working on the barriers, he's always keeping an eye out for any passenger who might be in need of some help.
You get to watch people every single day. I might just see somebody and walk up and say, oh, hi, how you doing, you all right? Is everything okay? Somebody could say, I'm fine, thanks very much for asking, or they could turn and say, no, I'm not doing great. And when they say they're not doing great, say, right, okay, fancy a wee cuppa? Are you all right to talk? Or I could put you in touch with somebody. But this is what I do. My name's Derek. I tell them what I do.
Derek's training is designed to identify and help anyone who may be in distress or at risk of suicide.
See if you're interested, just to go up and say, how you doing? It could save a life.
And he's just completed a job interview for a new role,
There you go.
which would put his passion for helping passengers to good use.
Today was a really, really big day. It's something I've been working towards. And the job is a safety travel officer position within ScotRail. It's quite important to me because it does involve suicide prevention and awareness, and it's something that's really close to my heart.
When the job came about, it just fitted with me. It fitted for what I'm trying to achieve inside and outside the work. So it was really, it was a position that I knew I had to go for. I'm hoping to contribute in the skills that I have to the job and to make our railway safer.
Derek will have to wait a bit longer to find out if he's been successful. The team at Central tackle the constant challenge of looking after passengers' welfare. Station manager Drew takes his role in that very seriously.
If somebody was to say, what is your aim at Glasgow Central? To make sure everybody is safe and secure at all times. That's the main one for me.
How you doing, Lynn?
Today, Drew is meeting up with Lynn Baird. She's come into the station to check the locations of 2 new bleed control kits and to make sure they're easily accessible.
Anybody comes to me with ideas or equipment that could help improve Glasgow Central Station and improve the safety, I'm willing to give it a try.
Lynn set up a charity foundation on behalf of her son, Daniel Baird, who tragically was stabbed to death in 2017.
There are many different circumstances to a catastrophic bleed. but these kits help with all of them.
Daniel's life could have been saved if a bleed control kit, a specialised first aid kit that prevents extreme bleeding, had been available on the scene.
I think it's vitally important because there's all kinds of incidents that can happen on a daily basis, and that's the purpose of my work really, is to get as many kits out there as possible.
The kit provides a variety of bleed management devices, including tourniquets, gauze and hemostatic bandages. Glasgow Central is the first station in Scotland to install bleed control kits and one of only a handful within the UK.
This is one of the locations here.
Yeah, brilliant.
So we've got one put there and we've got one further up at the British Transport Police Office.
Ah, yeah.
So thankfully, as yet, they've been up for a good month or so now.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we don't need to use them. When you suggested it, it was a no-brainer for me. Yeah. It was one of the kits and it's got along with a defib and we've got trauma bags, so...
Yeah.
That second that incident happens, we'll have every bit of kit available that could possibly save someone's life.
Getting the bleed kit out into the main thoroughfare is a big step forward for safety in Central.
So there you go, Lynn, this is the other location.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And then, obviously it's next to the British Transport Police Office.
Yeah, that looks really effective there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a review of everybody coming in as soon as they come in. That's the idea of putting it in a location where people can see it immediately.
Lynn is happy with the locations, and the station is that little bit safer. So it's another move in the right direction for Drew. Back with the delayed London-bound passengers, and it's good news. The freight train has been shifted. And while they wait for the backlog of trains to get to them, a replacement bus service has swung into action. But many are opting to wait for the direct trains, and for those customers, it's a hot day to be waiting under a glass roof.
I think irritations will be slightly higher, knowing that they're stuck under here for any longer than they need to be. We know it well, doing it for 12 hours a day in the heat.
Disruption in the summer is really difficult. With the heat in the station does become really hard. The glass roof is a bit of a nightmare. I would love to get vertical blinds for our roof, it would be amazing.
Having that heat on top of that just makes it 10 times worse. You've got to keep the spirits up and keep on going. It's hard, but we do it.
The number of delayed passengers on the concourse is mounting. The London service normally runs every hour, so new trainloads of customers keep arriving.
The 1640 to still come into the station, so I reckon that one will leave first.
Right. So am I right in thinking that there's an actual train at 4:45?
So far, yes.
But with the situation ever-changing, the information on the ground is not set in stone.
Communication is really important in here, and if you give bad information to passengers, they will not let you forget it, you know.
1540.
Yeah, 1540. You on the 1640. Keep your eye on the board at the moment, OK?
Is that being cancelled or not?
I don't know yet. I have no information. That's literally just came through. The freight train has been moved. Things should start moving. Just waiting for information.
Cancelled?
Yeah, I've just seen that. I've not got any information on that. I don't know what's happened.
A cancellation has appeared on the board and confused matters, but Alison has figured it out.
So I know that says cancelled now, but they've only cancelled it because it's going to be the 1640. It's just a time thing. It's just a time issue, basically. It's easier to say that's cancelled and say 1640 is 3 minutes late. The thing is, sometimes it's not so much that information is wrong, it's that it changes. Like within minutes, it can be something totally different, or there's a new plan, or they've changed their minds on things. And sometimes it's just how it happens, and we'll always strive to do the right thing. We might be wrong sometimes, it might be the wrong call, but we'll always strive to do it. So I know it's not ideal. I know.
The 1640 Avanti service is definitely on its way. But the delayed southbound passenger numbers are swelling, and it's unclear how many will be able to get on.
So that's a queue for it. This is a queue.
You're sure?
No.
It's not going to go. Oh.
I fancy you're confident they'll get everybody on, but I'm not.
The queue is out the door.
Do I look as if it's okay?
Trainee Mick has sprung into action.
As the man says, we're going to need a bigger boat. London train.
We're going to Preston.
Aye.
That's the same one.
That's the same queue, Paul. Aye. People are frustrated because they don't know if we're going to get on this train. So, you can understand that.
The train is 15 minutes away and the huge backlog of passengers are all desperate to get on board. The team hold their breath to see how many will be able to travel. Back at the ticket barriers, it's good news for customer service assistant Derek. He's got the job as travel safety officer. In preparation for starting his new role, he's meeting up with Samaritans worker John to learn about their Small Talk Saves Lives campaign.
Hi there. How you doing? Pleased to meet you.
I'm John.
The Railway Network and the Samaritans have been in partnership for 10 years. And as restrictions ease, Samaritans are ramping up their efforts within the station, and Derek is keen to learn more.
Well, this is stuff for our campaign, Small Talk Saves Lives. And what we're trying to get the message out just now is to say to people, everybody's got it in them to start a conversation. It be a small conversation. It could be enough to divert somebody's suicidal thoughts or intent. You know, small things like, you know, oh, it's a hot day today, isn't it? Did you see that rain earlier?
Anybody and everybody can do it. And that's where the gold is, that we get to people, you know. So, yeah, amazing. So you've just got your cards there.
Oh, we've got kind of sentences like, don't think you have no voice.
Just see that.
Don't keep it all bottled up.
Brilliant.
No one actually realises the power of talking. Nobody realises that. But it's very, very hard, and I can understand that.
Do you want to go and get a cuppa? Everything starts with a good cuppa.
Derek's passion for mental health support extends beyond the station. Last year, he started a peer-to-peer support group within his local community in Govan called The Jenny.
You can't have a meeting without the tea. The tea is the most important part of it. I set up the Jenny hoping I could make a difference in people's lives with mental ill health and suicide prevention. And it's a safe space for people to come down to talk about their mental ill health and to manage it better. With all the cracks in the teapot, it's an old teapot has seen so many generations of good times, bad times.
The Jenny is one of the many ways he is tackling the stigma of mental ill health through conversation and a cuppa.
If it was a member of your family, if it was your friend, if it was your colleague at work, would you want to be there to help them? I lost my friend years ago and I've never really got over it. And even with the training that I have now, all the signs were there. All the signs were there and I just didn't see them. It hurts. I thought, if I could just have saved him, if I could just have spoke to him. And it was too late. I ended up getting into suicide prevention and mental health. Even though my own mental health wasn't good, and I didn't accept it. I wanted to be normal. Now that I've actually accepted my mental ill health, and that gives me a good bit of passion to help others.
The group meets up twice a week and works to support anyone who needs it, including members of the local community and rail workers.
I've struggled with mental health for a good few years, and then Derek was introduced to us. Derek comes in and we have the chat and we've kept in contact. I work for Network Rail and Derek's in ScotRail. But we'll have the chat and we'll go to the links, and I've built off the back of that.
There's always hope, and that's what we're trying to just raise, that there's always a choice, there's always hope. It was an absolutely amazing night. There was a lot of good conversation going. There was a lot of tea getting drunk. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Glasgow Central has long been a place of refuge and community. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Scottish landowners evicted thousands of rural Highlanders from their homes in order to make way for profitable sheep farming. The Highland clearances forced many into urban areas for the first time.
People that were driven from their land sought refuge underneath the station, or maybe within the station itself, to talk about old times gone by and the terrible things that was inflicted upon them at that time.
Dr. Alasdair Whyte is a Gaelic speaker from the island of Mull and a researcher from Glasgow University. He's come to the station today to share the stories of the people that found themselves taking shelter here.
Glasgow grew exponentially in the 19th century. We're talking about a population of just over 75,000 in 1801. By 1901, we're talking about a population of 750,000. Part of that growth was down to Gaelic speakers. An important gathering place for them, place for a céilí, was the Hielanman's umbrella, hence the name.
The Hielanman's or Highlandman's umbrella became a safe haven for the displaced people.
I'm not sure if we could fit thousands under the umbrella, but certainly hundreds of people gathering to tell stories, to share news. And an example of that would be a fellow called Ian McFadden from the island of Mull. He was born in 1850 and worked as a guard on Hope Street as a kind of a bit of a precursor to the umbrella, which didn't exist in the form that it exists today over Argyll Street.
McFadden collected stories of the people who found themselves in Glasgow in his book, which Alasdair has today.
What he tells us in a poem called Sturm i'r drochach y Vrumilá, about one typically wet Glasgow Sunday afternoon and the storm on the Brumilá Bridge. I'r fisgur dánich an sa jaurig, sgaun garón tuirigan. Hook mi aram shees chun a drochach, yiach jay bachar dan chutach gan. A hule fer sa lav na ach man rachag ye chetig, ba kuch na closichen and crawling, smore a Newman station, faske geschit.
The station and the Hielanman's umbrella continue to keep the people of Glasgow safe and dry to this day. Back at Platform 1, the delayed Avanti 1640 London service has finally arrived. But with several trainloads of customers ready to board, the team have an anxious wait to see how many passengers can travel.
Yeah, we were concerned looking at that queue that everybody would get on, because we knew people would be hugely frustrated, especially from waiting for maybe 2 or 3 hours already.
And it's Avanti train manager Stephen's job to board as many passengers as he can to get this train out.
So when I got here into Glasgow as well, there was already 3 hours worth of delay.
So we've got all our customers from about 2 o'clock standing there, eyeing up this train just now, waiting to get on. A lot of people might have airplane connections and stuff like that, airports, but also they might be hungry and thirsty, toilets, they'll have missed seats. So the thing is, we've got 11 coaches here now. We might declassify which we normally have first class, so we'll just basically, for room for people, for social distancing as well, we'll just literally sit anywhere. Reservations will be cancelled, just take a seat where you can, first come, first served.
Basically, I know that there's going to be 3, maybe 4 train loads that were already booked, plus some people will walk on as well, so they have like an open ticket. So I know that they're going to get on this train today and I might not have room for them.
Trainee Mick is almost at the end of his shift. And he's hoping a higher power will get all the passengers on their way.
If that train leaves all these people, that'll be a miracle. Maybe there's a chance for some divine intervention.
With the train declassified, the passengers begin boarding, all eager to finally start their journey.
If it was me and I was travelling, I would definitely want to be on the first train away. So I can understand why people will want to just get on.
Guys, just take a seat anywhere. No, that's absolutely fine. Just get yourselves on somewhere.
Right, mine's was the Manchester train, and it's been cancelled.
Yep, that's it. Take any seat you want, no problem at all.
I think the first thing is people are quite emotional because things generally should go right. So you can feel like their emotions coming a bit out. Some people get a little bit more, how should I say, not as nice as they should be, but you just have to deal with it, because I understand it's not personal.
The passengers have been delayed for 3 hours, and if they don't get on this train, it will be another wait under the glass canopy.
I feel for the customers. It's like they've just been sitting around there underneath a glass roof for hours. They're hot, they're bothered, they're anxious, they want to get somewhere. So I just need to reassure everybody as well. So it's quite nice to come in and make sure that I'm there to help them.
So what to do, just find a seat, just sit in any coach all the way down, okay?
Cheers,
Sit on, take any seat you want, so just find a seat and on you go as well.
This is cancelled.
Manchester, yeah, we'll get you down in Preston. First come, first serve, find a seat, sit anywhere.
No, I'm asking from Preston.
From Preston, they'll be the same.
Yeah, there you are, see? There you are. Keep the faith. I might just all get on.
Right, I think that's us.
Stephen's managed to get everyone on, and there's even room for stragglers.
Get her.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's us about to close. So she's done, so she's all happy with that.
And they've done it. With the last person boarded, it's off the hot concourse and on to London for Stephen and the passengers.
Disruption's over.
And all your problems drift away.
So yeah, I can't believe that we got everybody on that train. Yeah, because I think that's the first time that since I've been here during the pandemic that we've queued through this and all the way outside. Yeah, so I can't believe we got everybody on. I can't believe we got everybody on so quick as well. Like we got everything moving rapid, so it was great.
Today, as part of Derek's mission to spread happiness, he's discovered that customer service assistant Josie's son Matthew and station regular Knox have a fascination with the railway, and he's offered to give them the opportunity of a lifetime. He's wangled duty manager Derek in to get some behind-the-scenes access.
What we're going to do, tell you walk around some of the trains and see what's there, and likes of the cabs, and see the drivers face every day.
I think I'm more excited about it than the kids coming in. By doing this takes me beyond my job. Good, because this is what also Inside Central does for people. Sometimes it can make people's dreams come true, especially kids. I just love that.
Thanks, Eric.
2 minutes, Derek.
You see him waving? Is he waving?
Come right.
And train fitter Eric is on hand to give the boys access to the driver's cabin.
See if the driver let us honk the horn.
We're not allowed to do that.
Are you not allowed to do that now?
Push it forward.
Woo! All right. Obviously, Eric's allowed to.
Stop!
And that's the doors all opening up in the length of the train. There you go.
It's amazing. Make new friends.
Hey! How was that?
Good.
How was that?
Good.
Is that a high fiver?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, I was able to sit on the driver's seat. I played with the horn and a lot of other stuff.
How was it? Was that a cracker?
I heard you hear that horn.
I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. You know, you heard them, you could hear them inside, laughing and giggling.
Another good deed done for Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
But it's not all fun and games. Keeping the station operating safely requires a massive team that never quite stops. When night falls in Glasgow Central, the countdown begins for the engineering team to complete vital maintenance by morning.
It's a kind of general thing on a Saturday night that somewhere in the Central will install steelwork of some description.
The tangle of tracks at the mouth of Central Station is affectionately known as the jungle. And understandably, it's quite complicated to keep in check.
The jungle, that's what it's all. You get lost in there. Yeah, I think that's how it came about.
Tonight, there's a switch that's showing signs of wear and tear and must be replaced. Central Project Manager Joe and Lead Engineer Stuart are the veteran team overseeing tonight's repairs.
Tonight we're replacing the left-hand half set of switches that allows the trains to cross between lines.
So it's a well-used set of points. It takes you into platform 1 and then onto platform 2 and 3. So it's just going on 10 to 2.
The first Guruk train leaves the station, I think, about 7:10. So we need to be all away and clear before that.
The team have 5 short hours to get the old switch out and fit the new one in place, ready for the morning traffic. And precision is key.
Small error can quickly multiply, and what you think is going to be a wee gap ends up a gap like that. And we're still looking to measure it in with kind of millimetre accuracy.
If you have anything affecting the jungle, it could have a massive effect on the impact of the operation at Glasgow Central.
With various tracks running into 4 lines, the unique configuration of the jungle allows traffic to flow seamlessly in and out of Central every day. But the design hasn't fundamentally changed in over 60 years, so constant maintenance is required to keep it all running smoothly.
Even with something that's renewed in here, because it's such a complicated layout, it just pretty much is replaced like for like.
And for Stuart, who has worked here since 2005, it's a big playground.
The complexity of the place and the fact you've got such a big part in maintaining it. Great job, big full-scale train set, what could be better than that? I think we're going to go and lift this switch out and put the new one in.
With the old switch stripped and ready for inspection, the wear and tear on the track becomes clear.
This is the reason we're doing the whole job in the first place. The wear on this narrow part of the blade, this is the bit that does the steering of the wheel, the flange of the wheel, it becomes worn. Left unchecked could develop into a derailment hazard, but that's why we have these inspection regimes and we replace these things regularly. The way you make traffic safe is you don't let trains pass over that blade. You would effectively lock the points in another position.
Two hours in, and Stuart's precise measurements are about to be tested. It's time for the new switch to be dropped into position.
So you never like to see a gap, you always like to see it filled. So until that's actually in place, the last thing you want is then go and then find out you're shot with a foot. I might be looking calm, but I tell you, not really, not everything's done.
Yeah, I always feel the pressure, particularly as it's me that measures and orders the switches. So you've got 10 men there that's going to be right on my case if there's a big gap. That's the switch substantially in position, but obviously the fine adjustments are beyond the finesse of the machine, so the guys will manually just push the rail into the right position, move it into the right gauge.
But there's a problem. Once the new switch has been laid in place, the team find a discrepancy with the gauge readings, the distance between the 2 rails of the track. And the gauge appears to be slightly off. Finding a discrepancy in the gauge measurements at this stage can cost precious time for the team. The engineers need to re-measure the gauge at each point and manually move the switch into the correct position.
Time right now is 5:25. It's tighter than what we expected, yeah. Yeah, we've had to re-gauge the points. It's kind of held us up a wee bit. We weren't really expecting to have such gauge issues. We thought it would just be a case of replenishing the new half set with what's already existing. But when we put it in, the gauge readings just weren't right. So, as I say, you just can't just tie it up and carry on. We have to get the readings right. It's a brand new switch. It's the judgment calls on the night. That happens. Still should be right for time, eh?
The team have under an hour left to get their work complete, and they need to allow time for the signalling and telecommunications departments to do their essential checks on the switch before it can be fully operational.
It's no good when you're right to the last chap trying to get the work done. But things happen. That's the nature of the industry we're in.
The engineers are running out of time, and the signalling team don't have enough time to run their checks. Stuart decides to make the switch safe for the morning traffic by clamping it into position as a temporary fix. Locked in this position means it won't be fully operational, as trains won't be able to switch tracks. But getting the clamp on allows trains to pass over the switch safely, so platforms 1 and 2 can stay open. The signalling team will need to check in later to finish the job.
Yeah, the time is 25 to 7. Trains start running at 7, so that's us done. That's it, made safe. Switch in, tied up, clamped, so it's good to go for the day's traffic. Some people to follow up, final tuning tonight, and it'll be done and dusted. It's just such an old layout. You pull it to bits, it doesn't go back together like a brand new thing, you know. And just the gauge variation of putting the new switch in was too much to leave, you know. We had to address that at the time.
The night didn't go quite as planned, but thanks to Stuart, they've made the switch safe and haven't caused any major disruptions to this morning's traffic.
That's what you're here for, isn't it? You've just got to work out as you go. You can't just abandon things when they don't go as smoothly as you would hope. So that's part and parcel.
The team will return tonight to finish the job. Up in Central's offices, the station's tour guides, Paul and Jackie, have some good news.
The great news is that we're reopening on Monday. That'd be great, and we'll hopefully get you a tour booked. Thanks a lot. Bye.
The station's historical tours can finally restart.
Yeah, it's all hands to the pumps at the minute because we're very busy because we've been given the go-ahead by the First Minister to reopen.
The tours will start back on Monday, leaving Paul and Jackie just 3 admin days to book in over 2,000 customers. So it's full steam ahead for the team.
The response so far has been really, really positive. People are desperate to come on the tour, and we can't wait to get back doing the tours. That's what we do, so can't wait.
It's been a long time coming. We've been through a hell of a lot of different challenges, but finally we're going to get the show back in the road as of Monday. 16th August, my birthday, 10 o'clock tour, that's the first one. So I'm looking forward to meeting everybody again, having a good laugh, telling the stories. They can tell me their stories as well, so great times ahead for us all, hopefully.
Getting the tours back up and running marks the culmination of 2 years of work for Jackie to get the new station museum ready.
The tours will always be Paul's legacy. Mine, hopefully, if everybody likes it, my legacy will be the museum. And I'm desperate to just let people see it.
With the reopening imminent, there's one last bit of the museum to get ready. Jackie has been working on a collaboration for the museum with project lead Paul from Glasgow School of Art. And today's installation day.
Hello there, young man.
Hello there,
hello.
Jackie.
Good to see you.
Oh,
Good to see you. How are you?
Not bad.
Big
I'm happy
day.
to report I've got a couple of...
Big day.
Let's see what it looks like on the big screen, Jackie.
I'm sure it'll be fabulous. Let's head down.
The work celebrates soldiers from Scotland who lost their lives in the First World War through an animated mural projection.
I don't think we want to forget. I would like to think that people, will want to remember. I think especially the part that Central Station played during the wars. That's a very poignant part of the tour.
Like most train stations across the UK, during both World Wars, Glasgow Central played an important role. Up and down the country, train stations were packed with soldiers saying their last goodbyes. And it's those soldiers they have decided to memorialise in the new work.
We knew we wanted something visual and big. Did we know that it was going to be what it is today? No. So when we approached Glasgow School of Art, they came up with the ideas. So what we have now are 2 murals, moving murals. So they're created by third-year students.
It was serendipity. I happened to be going into someone at the art school's office, and they mentioned, did I know anybody that was interested in making a mural? In actual fact, that Central Station were looking for a mural. And I suggested that instead of a mural, we could have a video sort of mural, a moving thing or an AV thing.
Yeah, it's taken a long time. It's been ready for a while, but COVID hasn't allowed this to happen. Really looking forward to it, really dying to see it on.
After waiting almost 2 years to see the mural, it's finally being installed just outside the museum, ready for the tours. Jackie and Paul just need the technology to work to get over the last hurdle.
You're not allowed to use this bit here where I struggle. Okay. I think we need to read the manual.
The projector finally plays its part, and the moment is here for Jackie and Paul to see the work in action.
We'll put the light off and see how it looks with the light off.
The mural features the names of over 17,000 soldiers who lost their lives in the First World War.
To me, it's having the effect that I absolutely wanted it to have. Huge number of these names, just boys. I'm a mother of 3 boys myself. The thought of them having gone, aye, makes you think.
So the thing to know about this, Jackie, is the fact that every time this runs, this is different.
So it's random, it's running
randomly
random.
Picking names from the database.
I think what makes it more thought-provoking and more poignant is, for most of them, we have the first line of the address that they lived at. It kind of makes it real for the city. They're not far. There's Dunmannock and Parkhead.
It plays this bit out here where we move around, and then it resolves to the poppy motif.
I hadn't seen that bit, Paul. That's brilliant. Thanks. When I look at this, I don't know, it just kind of makes me think maybe life's not that bad now. Maybe just we don't realise how lucky we are. It's brilliant, Paul. Thank you.
And Jackie's colleague Paul has come down to see the finished article in situ.
At last, we have a mural. What do you think?
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. Amazing. I think the real crux of that is it gives the men's home addresses on it. And I think people can associate with that a lot better. You know, it's not just random names that are going across the screen. They've got the addresses and they can relate to that.
So people will recognise streets, people will recognise, potentially people will recognise relatives, names and...
The space they've chosen to house the mural is especially significant to Central's history during World War I.
For a brief period in time, that area down there was used as a temporary mortuary. Adds to the story, I think, about the men that departed from Central and lost their lives in the First World War.
Getting this in is, I'll not say the final piece because it's no finished, so it's not the final piece, but it's a big, big part of the jigsaw and a big part of my vision.
And there's one more part of the puzzle to test out. The second moving mural tells the whole story of Glasgow Central and was also created by third-year students from Glasgow School of Art.
It was a wee bit emotional because that was the kind of culmination of the last 2 years' work. But that was the icing on the cake. Both of the murals are so effective and it's better than I had expected.
The work that she's done with the museum has been absolutely remarkable. It's changed the tours. It's changed them, but it's enhanced them, definitely for the better. You done some job, you old goat.
Well, I think we better go and do some real work. I don't think we're going to get paid for sitting in the cinema for much longer.
That'll be the first time in the real one.
Glasgow Central has always had a close connection with the arts. In the 18th century, the Alasdair Street Theatre once stood between platforms 1 and 2. The theatre was part of the village of Grahamston, a thriving place that vanished beneath the foundations of Glasgow Central. Local historian Norrie has spent years researching this part of Central's past.
We're standing more or less in the line of Alasdair Street, which left Argyll Street and ran in that direction up to Gordon Street.
The building of a theatre on Alasdair Street was met with hostility by local religious groups who viewed the performing arts as immoral.
Looking at the beginning of the whole thing, it opened on the 24th of April 1764, and it was to have a very rough passage from the start. On the opening night, a preacher led a mob from Anderson Cross, and they marched on the theatre and ransacked it, broke a lot of props and scenery and destroyed a lot of clothes. And this is all part of this idea that the theatre was the house of the devil and they didn't want to have it in Glasgow.
The angry mob had a fight on their hands when faced with the manager and star performer of the theatre, Mrs. George Ann Bellamy.
She was thought to be the most beautiful actress of her time. She was widely regarded as the most beautiful Juliet in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. But the interesting thing is that her background was a little bit different from that. She was actually born in Ireland and she'd had a very, very unsettled childhood for one sort or another. But she was very determined, she was an influencer, she was well connected with people in local society and the theatre, and she wasn't easily scared. And she actually insisted that the show must go on. And she managed to raise donations of £400 from local people who wanted to support her. Mrs. Bellamy managed to get something like, I think, about 100 dresses and other garments from the women of Grahamston so that the performance could go ahead.
Despite its fraught opening night, the theatre kept its doors open for another 16 years. And the story of Mrs. Bellamy has gone on to inspire a new art installation within the station. Artist Stephanie Black-Daniels won funding to create a new work for Glasgow Central. The project has been in the works for over 2 years, and after lots of delays, Stephanie is finally able to install her art within the lower level of the station.
We waited a long time to get to this point, and the whole team here at ScotRail have really rallied around and gone, we can make this finally happen, and yeah, it's really exciting to actually see it going up on the wall.
Stephanie and her team created 7 photographic prints on vinyl that are wrapped around a metal frame. The works all stem from the story of the great Mrs. Bellamy.
So around the 17th and 18th century, you got these character cards. So instead of having a photograph, as you do now, you would have an etching of them. In fact, I found a really interesting etching of Mrs. Bellamy herself in a tragic pose. And thinking about that tragedy and tragic poses of the time, I started to develop these gestures that were a little bit more kind of abstract. I did a wee bit of a call out and got women of various ages and asked them to pose in these different forms. I think it's really interesting that Mrs. Bellamy had that real courage and that real power to go, I'm going to go on and I'm going to perform no matter what. And actually, it brought the community together. Right, can you bring this side?
ScotRail General Manager Kat has been involved in the process from the beginning.
It's exciting and a bit of relief that we're finally there and getting the work up that will really brighten up the station.
Hopefully it's going to be a talking point for the station, something new. We've had it hard about a year and a half now, so hopefully it's just something as a talking point as visitors are coming in and through the station. I feel like it's a real privilege to be able to show a piece of work here at Central Station. Obviously it's a key part of what makes Glasgow. I never thought I would have the opportunity to show my art here, so I feel really lucky that I can do that.
Certainly brightens up that wall.
Today, the tours are back.
But it's just not a tour at a railway station. It's not just about trains and tracks and buildings. It seems to strike a chord in people.
Just to mention, folks, go ahead to on the right-hand side there.
I tell the stories from the heart, and people recognise that. This isn't just a job, this.
And with Jackie's museum and murals taking pride of place, the tour's a hit.
There's something special about this tour.
One tour down, thousands more to go. Next time on Inside Central Station.
Main things for us to watch out for is overcrowding. It's about dealing with the numbers and making sure there's not a lot of congestion.
We need to stop the barriers. Stop! Stop! The train's not open.
Guys, if you're all coming up, you can feed through that side as well.
That's it.
Just keep coming, guys.